A victory for Cardiff City. Not very often we've had a chance to say that this season. The question we posed to our readers and viewers today is this the turning point, or have Cardiff simply just beaten the only team worse than them in the Premier League? Where do we stand on that one, chaps?
I'm a bit in between. Nothing's impossible. I don't think we can get as carried away with one win as some will be. I think you clearly need a run of results, and we've got two really difficult games coming up, so we need to gather some momentum. But if we can get a point up at Goodison, even a win, and come out of the Liverpool game with something, we've got to come out of one of those two games with something to try and give the players a bit more belief on top of what they've already gained from Fulham. So for me, a long way off. Yes, we're going to definitely stay up and things like that, and as this the beginning of something special, we don't know, but it has to start somewhere. We just needed to stop the rot, which was the first thing.
Yeah, you've got to take the positives when they come, I suppose, Tuck, haven't you? And we said they had to win, and they did.
They did, and we've been sitting here all season complaining they don't do it against the sides in and around them and all that. Well, this time, finally, they did it. Against an incredibly poor Fulham side.
You just bigged up our team and then just said, the only reason they won because we have...
No, but I mean, Fulham, crikey, if anybody's gone, that's surely one relegation spot dealt with right there. They were poor. But, I thought first half, there was lack of... If someone had said, this isn't that good championship game, you say, oh yeah, it's quite a good championship game, this, quite competitive.
Say it was a good championship
game.
Well,
but a bit of...
I watched Burnley, Blackburn, that was a good championship.
That was a good championship game. Okay, if someone had said, hang on, take two. If someone had said this is a really average championship game, you would have sat there and you said, this is a really average championship game, right? So it wasn't great quality, but Cardiff, I thought they kept going and they kept going.
They played their way into.
They did, I think by the end, with 46 minutes on the clock, they'd earned the goal. You couldn't begrudge them it. And then, second half, Fulham had offered nothing. They got the goal back out of nowhere off a corner or whatever. And my first thought was, how are Cardiff going to react to this now? What's going to happen here? Are they going to collapse?
That was the most positive thing from the game for me.
I think so. Definitely, I agree with that. The way they reacted to the setback of them drawing level, they kept going and they got the reward. So that was good. And compared to the whole game, the last time home fans would have seen them, it was a completely different performance. They looked like they had a bit more fight about them, a bit more camaraderie, a bit more spirit and all that, So, positives. But, as Blakey says, I mean... Whether that's the turning point or whether that was like a last hurrah remains to be seen.
Do you think the fact that they had the same goalkeeper, a partnership at centre half, which played together a lot last and this season, and two in front or three in front in Medal and Much, who obviously played a lot of games this season, they're sparring, definitely the first, goalkeeper, defence, midfield was all back to normal, if you like. So I think that played a big part as well.
Let's have a few fans' comments then. Frankie started us off with a positive one. Says, all in all, it was a fantastic day. I was on the front row cheering the boys on. Lefty Bluebirds, slightly different take on it. He says they beat the worst team in the league via a goalkeeping error and an own goal. That's about the size of it. Fulham are in complete chaos, but Cardiff are a little better. Everton will destroy us next Saturday. He says, another one, Wayne, I predicted 4-1 against Fulham, 3-1, not so bad then, Wayne. Barry Boy, even after the great win Saturday, can anyone honestly see us getting enough points to stay up? And a question here, do the boys think 37 points will be enough? Is that the sort of figure?
We've been trying to work it out. I thought it'd be just a bit short, but looking at the teams like Norwich, West Brom, ourselves, Sunderland, you can't write Fulham off, but I think they're practically gone. I think those 5 teams, and then you've Crystal Palace as well. I think, and Norwich, I think, you've got... I can't see many of them getting to 36, 37 points. I think it might be 37, 36, 37.
Yeah.
I think it'd be one of the all-time lows to stay in the Premier League.
What is the record low? Do we know?
I think isn't it like,
Asking
isn't
the
it
wrong man.
35 or 36? I think.
Similar. We're kind of on 25 at the minute. Obviously, do we think Fulham cast adrift now? Do we think 4 points behind?
I think it's
I think they just looked. I can't envisage where they're going to pick up the points. Although I couldn't envisage where Cardiff are going to pick up the points, but certainly Fulham.
I think as well. Me personally, I don't really look at the games what you got coming. I look at the performance and the confidence in the team, and the management structure and what have you. And I think with Fulham, too much change is no good in football. Longevity, I always say in football. They've had 3 managers this year. As a player, you're trying to you're waiting for one set of ideas to come across. You fall into that, then someone else comes in with a different opinion, so you start to follow that. Then someone else comes in with a different opinion, and at the end of the day, I've said to you before, as a player, you start to think, what are they doing up there? Yeah, just keep changing. Doesn't give us a chance to get into any sort of pattern or momentum going. So, I think I'm not saying Fulham are definitely down, but they're as good as gone for me.
And is it interesting on that point that the one team you're now looking at really getting sucked into it with Cardiff at target in a West Brom, another club who similarly have made some very odd decisions. Steve Clarke, if he was still there, you doubt very much that he's still
I don't think they would have. I don't think they'd be anywhere near it if they had Steve Clarke. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, but he is that good a coach. I know Steve Clarke since I was at Chelsea as a kid.
Yeah.
I've known him a very long time, and I know he's highly respected. Many years before he went into the manager's post, done a great job at Albion in his first season, probably overachieved. And the chairman there is very short-fused. It's almost like, I think the chairman panicked, to be honest with you, because I think if the chairman, in hindsight, looking back now, would probably, out of the 3 managers he's had, the one he's got now, and the previous 2, I think he'd love to have Stevie Clarke back.
All sorts of stories.
Seems like the sides that maybe benefited from the manager's change this season, maybe Palace, you'd say, Sunderland, did it quite early.
No, if you look though, they went with managers who were experienced in this country.
Yeah, as well.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that's a big part.
But they did it quite early, didn't they? And it was like, right.
And once you've made your choice, stick with it.
Yeah, you got Fulham.
Because what you can't do, or what it does, like I just said, because you keep changing at the top, you don't realise that the mayhem and chaos it causes in the dressing room. The new manager's got to come in. He'll say the same things at the beginning. Oh, we all start from a clean sheet. Everyone starts from the same position. Blah 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 blah. No favourites and all that. And then 2 or 3 people who have been playing for the last 3 months are out. 2 new faces are in. Those 3 who were kicked out get upset, and it's just a continuous, bad run of results.
I suppose the question is now, from a Cardiff perspective, as Solskjaer, has he got his, is he bedded in now? Is this result, as we say, is this the start of the Renaissance?
It has to be. There's no other option.
He likes to change.
Let's talk about personnel and shape, which we talk about every week, and we always have a different thing to talk about.
We need a board, don't we? We need to get a board here or something like that.
On this budget, you're lucky to have a chair.
We've got a flip chart over there. We'll do that next week. Tucker's flip chart. We'll get you with a red pen.
Yeah, Tuck, you can do it.
That shouldn't take long. Move him over there. Can I go home now?
Yeah, we'll get Blakey.
Get Blakey to do it. He like that.
But obviously we had the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2 last week.
Yeah.
Sort of changed back to 4-5-1 this week, but with Fraser Campbell playing a sort of inside left role. What did you make of it? Because there's a comment here that Campbell and Noon, the 2 best performers on the weekend. I saw Fraser had a lot of praise for his hard work.
But don't he always?
Yeah.
It goes without saying that is something that no one could ever label at him that he doesn't put a shift in for the team.
Saw a lot more of the ball.
Seen more of the ball. Yeah. I thought he was.
Which is good.
I thought him and Nooney. I thought they were our brightest sparks, but. I still think we just need a bit more down the middle, up front. I think, I don't know, Kenwynn's doesn't seem to have like an aggressive streak in him. You know?
Why is that for a big? He's a big guy.
I don't know. I don't know whether someone needs to smash him or something like that. Yeah, because I allude to myself, and people say you have to train how you play. I couldn't train how I play because I got part of my thing. If I wasn't playing well, I'd go and try and pick a fight with the defender, almost to get into a one-on-one battle to try and win that battle. But Kenwyne I think he needs to, I don't know, get involved with someone somewhere along the line. I'm not saying do anything stupid like elbow someone, but you need to get into a real, a real fight with a defender.
It's hard to work out what he's bringing there, because he's not. All right, he's winning the odd flick on in the air and all that, and
that's all we have from Cornelius.
But he's not making run. You're looking. There's people looking up in midfield, waiting for him to go somewhere to think, and it's always to his feet. He's very static.
I think
lacking energy.
I think he's not going to be one who's going to be like Fraser, where he can put little balls in around the corner, down the channel, and things like that. Yeah. But because of his size, what you expect from him is like what you get from, say, a Peter Crouch. Then pull on the angle a lot. Pull off the defender a lot. Make life hell for the two centre halves. Just really by your positioning. But if you're static down the middle all the time and expecting the ball just to be played to you, it's not going to happen.
His flick-ons were bugging me as well. His flick-ons were bugging me. Every time someone plays it, you do like a little first-time flick, and if you watch it, it always goes to an opposition player. Always. It was bugging me. When you're at a game and you're just bugged.
Yeah.
We want a lot more from.
Basically.
What about this? JJ Dynamo saying, do you think the team needs to play more physically as a whole? I think maybe we're saying Kenwyne Jones certainly does need to. A Cardiff City too nice? Is any signs they're getting that aggressiveness they used to have under Mackay back?
I saw on Facebook somebody saying that I'm not sure if it's true. I presume it was true. It was some stats thing saying that before that game anyway, they put in less tackles per game and committed fewer fouls per game than any other side in the top 5 leagues in Europe.
Wow.
Cardiff, which is madness, isn't it? That's incredible. So, I saw that on a thing.
Someone has to be last, but
yeah, but you wouldn't want it to be you. The top 5 leagues in Europe.
Yeah,
so I think on that evidence, which suggests yes, they do need to be more physical.
For the last few weeks,
it's no secret. I know, but that caught my eye.
Very lightweight, and we do need a bit more experience and aggression about our team. I've said it, many times. Tucker has said it many times. I think we do lack that aggressive nature then, if you like, which, it's not a case of some people say, the game's changed. Well, the game has changed, but, I guarantee you on a Saturday, if you're Ramirez playing for Chelsea against Tottenham, first and foremost, you've got to be aggressive, dead aggressive, real aggressive, because, if it's good enough for Chelsea, Tottenham, and a top fixture, it's good enough for everybody else, It's those players who you think to yourself are silky, skilled and smooth. They all got a bit of a nasty streak in them. They can all put a tackle in, if you like. But I just feel that's something we've lacked almost all season.
A couple of comments on Kenwyne. Steve saying Kenwyne Jones is poor. The guy needs crosses into the box to attack. He seems to have a shocking touch. His hold-up play is average. If we play to his strengths and get the crosses in. If not, don't play him at all. Carl just saying Kenwyne Jones is just as bad as Peter Odemwingie, an awful player, he says. So room for improvement.
You say that he needs the service. He
got good service.
You got Noon there. You can't get a sweeter. And when he got his real chance, Kenwyne Jones, he fluffed his line. He had that one where he peeled off at the back post. Okay, it was a tight angle, but come on, he put it in the side netting, for goodness sake.
That was after it bounced.
And with that goal,
that was after it bounced.
With that goalkeeper they had there, Stecklenburger, or whatever his name was, he was prime for an error if you got it on target, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Kolker only had to hit the target, and he was diving under it. So I don't know about that. I think they are trying to play to Kenwyne Jones' strengths, and not quite coming off for him at the moment.
Okay, well, let's talk about a player at the other end of the spectrum then, in terms of how the fans are looking at him. Stephen Kolker, obviously the captain, fantastic, the the two-goal hero. Any other cliche you can think of?
I've used them all this weekend. I'm done now with the cliches.
How because we've maybe been a little critical of him, or maybe we've questioned whether a player of that age can show real leadership that Cardiff need. How impressed were you with that? And also, on the back of that, plenty of rumours linking Colker with a move away in the summer already. I mean, we're still a long way off that, but people say he's
it's no secret that if Cardiff go down,
they're going to lose 4 or 5 players, I think. I think they do well to hold on to Colker. I think they do well to hold on to Marshall. But Dell, I think early season I would have said they do well to hold on to him, but now I don't think that'd be a major problem. Noon, I think they'd have a problem holding on to.
I think Noon.
Campbell, they may have a problem holding on to.
Marshall, we were saying this the other day though, Marshall you would think, well, you were there John, we were talking about sometimes where we goalkeepers often don't get the same. I know he's had a fantastic season and all that, but you don't often see that with keepers really, do you, them being lifted out?
Yeah, but I would say there's probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 Premiership teams who I think Marshall
would have him in there.
Yeah, would snap him up really, because you're not going to get much more than 10 million for him.
But anyway, hang on, let's not have a fire sale here. We're talking about how good. Don't want to cut you off in your prime. You're depressing.
We're selling already.
You're already. The price tags are going up.
We would struggle to hold on to a few, and I think Colker's one of those players. And you've got to realise as well that in 2 years from now, imagine, okay, hypothetically speaking, we go down and then don't come back up. You're on the verge of then going into the Euros. These players will desperately be wanting to be playing in the Euros, especially those who don't go to the World Cup. So there is that to think about as well from a player's perspective. You've got to think career, because it is a career. You've got to think, right, I want to play at the highest level in the biggest competitions as often as I can. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few of our big names go in the summer if we get relegated. But that's part and parcel of the game.
I mean, on about Colker himself, I mean, like you said, John, I think the question's been, he's 22 now, he just turned 22, I think. There's something about, I think I said in my match report, there's a lot of people, there's a lack of gravitas about him to be a leader, I think, and that youthful element as well. It was interesting talking after, because I spoke to Jordan Much and to Ben Turner as well after.
2 players this week.
I know. I don't know what the two. You could obviously tell they'd won.
Must be that DA at the front there.
Blakey's impressed by my new hairstyle.
I was going to say, what's different about it? Something's different. Right?
I've combed it, basically.
It's got more. I don't know what it is.
It's got more balls.
It's got more.
Hey, hang on. What's it? Hey, what's it? It's a football show or a fashion show? Do you know what I mean? Hey.
I noticed it the other day when you had your cardigan on as well.
I spilt coffee on the cardigan. I don't want to go into it. It's a nightmare, but I can't talk about it. Hang on. Hey, so I was talking to these guys, and they paid tribute, and Jordan Much in particular was saying, he's the same age as Colker, both 22, and he was saying how much of a leader that Colker was on off the pitch. And I was interested when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually said an interesting thing. He said, he's very emotional, Colker, which you don't always get from him, that he's quite a sensitive person, and the recent bad form and thing has really affected him, has got to him and been eating away at him, particularly going to Spurs then and getting done. And I think sometimes from the outside, you don't see that in the guy, and I think
the problem is from the outside, especially in the media, you just think every footballer is a footballer. End of. So I'm saying, like, everyone in the media on the floor outside is just a journalist. People are individuals, and more than most other sports, I think, with football, I think people fail to remember that behind the money, behind the football, behind it all is a person. Like, but I think it's just, I've said, lack of experience. I think by the time Colk was 24, 25, I think he'd be a brilliant captain and leader. I really do, because he's a great athlete. And he will learn. It's hard to be a great leader if you're in a situation where you've never experienced before, and you're a young kid. Because he is, at the end of the day, 21 is 22 is You can't say it's old. He's only been a pro for 4 years.
And I
He's
think
a kid.
the emotion thing as well. I thought that there's a picture of him reeling away from scoring that goal, like 446 minutes, I think it was, without a goal, and the relief was. You
It's
could feel the
evident.
relief, and there's a picture of Kolka, and you can see what it means to him in his face. I think you can the emotion in his face, and I think that's a good. I think fans in particular always like to see that in someone, and
Could yet be off to the World Cup as well, obviously, with England.
I don't know
I
if it's
think
a
he's gone
little
outside chance. I think.
Yeah.
I think he has. I think he's gone outside
Particularly
chance.
if he can lead Cardiff to safety.
Well, you pop up as well with goals from set pieces, and that's another string to your bow that makes you very attractive.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
all concerned.
Plenty of praise for him on here. Steve sticking up for Cameron Jones. I thought Cameron Jones' all-round play was quality. He's not going to chase everything. It's not his game. He's another who'll get better when he's match fit.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking.
Praise for Fabio as well from the
Match
same bloke,
fitness.
actually, Steve, who's obviously a very positive man, who says, thought Fabio was great on the weekend, improving every
He
game.
was.
Going to be some player for us now he's getting match.
I thought John was good as well. I thought young
Improving.
Declan had a good game as well. You thought for the first time maybe when you looked at them, you thought, oh, that's the two fullbacks. I know it's a bit late in the day, but he's been messing around. You thought maybe he's got them there. You know, Fabio was.
I still think
much improved.
Declan. I still think both of them need work defensively.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Declan definitely. It was a couple of occasions on Saturday again, which I thought, you know, he just switched off, or he got caught sleeping, or got caught out of position a couple of times. And you know, I say it because the flip side, you don't work on him defensively. He makes a glaring mistake, and you know he's out of this team for like 10, 15, 20 games. You know what I mean? Or never to be seen again. So rather than that happen, I just think they need to work, especially both of them. I think they're both young. I think defensively they both need work, definitely. But played very well Saturday. You know, for two young kids. I thought Fabio, it was his best game. But again, I don't get too carried away because the level of opposition, whilst it was Premier League, you know, Fulham are in disarray.
as bad as you can
You
get.
know,
Premier League, I
you
suppose,
just
yeah.
think what a lack of confidence we had going into the game. They were probably worse again. So you had two teams devoid of confidence. You know, it's okay coming out saying, well, we won 3-1 and he was great and he was great, but you know, no one was great to begin with.
Yeah.
Cardiff didn't become great; they become good. They were good second half. You know, not great, but they were good. They were better than, like Tuck said in the beginning, a very poor Fulham
Okay,
team.
then. It's we can't go by without us talking about Vincent Tan, who in the headlines again, I suppose. Well, what can you say? Well, let's maybe let Jeff some of it. Says once again a morale-boosting result is overshadowed by Vincent Tan's antics. Is no one at the club or in the media able to let him know how damaging he is? Plenty of other people saying Tan out and Blue Jay. Nice to see Vincent Tan making an appearance on the pitch. I mean, obviously they're doing the Ayatollah, getting booed. When you look at that,
booed quite heavily as well. The most booing I've heard.
Do you think he's oblivious to that? He didn't expect that. Do you think he's sort of goading his critics?
I think he quite likes it.
Do you think that's
maybe.
Do you think he would have gone out there and expected to be booed for doing that?
I
Or
would
do you think
think
he
after
thought,
his
they love
recent
me?
comments and that, maybe he's like a kind of guy who likes a reaction irrespective of what the reaction is. I don't know. He must be very thick-skinned, you know. I mean, because most people would be very hurt by it.
I'm slightly different on it. I go back to the interview he'd done on the Beeb, and there was a little thingy which alarmed me, which when he said, if they boo me and they don't like me, I'll just take my money and make someone else, another team rich. Now, that straight away just showed to me a lack of compassion and care for the club you're at. Because, you know, you're supposed to love it and support it and, you know, almost die for it then, if you like. Die for the cause, the old saying goes. You don't literally mean it, but you know what I mean. So that was alarming to me, and I just thought on Saturday was an opportunity for him to stand in the background, out of the way, and let Ollie, who's been under, you know, crazy amounts of pressure, take the limelight, take the plaudit, and walk away with a positive attitude, with a positive outcome, positive result, brilliant. I thought whoever, again, I keep saying, whoever advises, and I don't think there is anyone advising, because I think Vincent Tan has surrounded himself with people who do what he says, simple as. But if you're advising him, the first thing I would have said to him was don't go out there, don't go down to the tunnel. Even if the fans cheer you, just leave Ollie have his moment, sort of thing. Let him savor this moment. Him and the fans, again, the rapport, let them get it, and we move on to the next game. As soon as you step out, now the emphasis shifts from Cardiff, great result, Fulham, are they down, to Vincent Tan was booed, Cardiff got a good result, Fulham down. So the emphasis switched from the game to Vincent Tan, and from that moment I just thought to myself, again, Monday morning after the game, he's going to have to be in Ollie fielding questions about something that is out of his control, and
it's not helping.
It doesn't help the situation. I just.
It doesn't help.
You say people advise. If he stands up, I'm sure if he goes, I will go down to the tunnel. Nobody there going to go, hey. Hold your horses, man. No, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
That's the point. That's the problem. So
I don't think it's ever happened in the history of Vincent Tan.
Yeah, but it's called a little bit of foresight, isn't it? It's called a bit of thinking ahead, and rather than thinking about what's good for me, thinking about what's good for my club and my manager and my team as a whole.
If that sort of thing happens,
what comes first? My ego and what I want to take out of this result today and get some, few fans clapping and singing my name, or do I happy to sit in the background? Because most owners, you have to say, you look at someone like Abramovich, foreign owner, like him or loathe him, you don't see
he's up in the
from him.
So you have to seek him out of the camera, don't you?
Champions League final, they win and he's up on the phone, just, he doesn't want it. Now, some others might want it, but there's a time and a place for what I'm saying, and when you're at the bottom of the table, struggling, you already know what happened a couple of months ago when he booed, like, what reaction that got from the media. Just to me, it's just like,
look. If anyone
it's unnecessary.
If anyone could advise him, the moment that he was sat somewhere and was like, I know what, I'll change the kit from blue to red. Surely somebody there would have gone, whoa, hold on a minute, but it's going to be so it's quite obvious nobody's able to advise him, or that would have headed things off a long time.
And I think until there is someone in that position, I think it's going to you're just going to have a calamity of errors. It's going to be a continual battle. You're going to have continuous situations which are avoidable, totally avoidable. And again, I say, rather than match of the day and this and that, everyone talking about, have we turned the corner, positive result, some people will get further ahead in their minds where we are and what's happened. Other people will be a bit more realistic. But out of the two groups, no one wants to be talking about whether the owner was right or wrong, and did he get booed, was that right? And it goes off on a totally different path then. Do you know what I mean?
He's achieved probably what he wanted to achieve. He's probably just about the most high profile owner in the Premier League.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Along with Abramovich, the name. I mean, my mate, who's like a Newcastle fan or something, he's like, Vincent Tan. Everybody, you go up and who's the owner of Cardiff? Vincent Tan. If that's what he wanted, then that's job done. He's got the profile, whether it's a good or bad profile. I'm not really sure he cares.
It's not helping how Solskjaer is perceived in the eyes of certain fans. A few people on here saying Solskjaer is just a yes man because he's always having to come out and say, don't be horrible to Vincent Tan, things along those lines. But what more can he do?
Well, Mackay
was the same.
I actually have to see Malky Mackay had to sit there and go, well, the change from blue, he was in charge, and even from blue to, obviously, if you went to him and said, Glasgow Celtic are changing to purple shirts, he'd have been like, hey, no! That was a Scottish accent. But what can you say of it? You're in a job, you're there to do a job, you're getting paid for the job. If your boss is a bit of a prat, you're probably, unless you want to leave that job, are not going to say, yes, he's a complete idiot, I've got no time for him whatsoever. You're going to have to sit there and go, well, you know, we need to do this, let's all pull together, and that's just the nature of life.
I think stubbornness is, it could be the end of, could end up ruining the situation for us. Because the chairman, I think, is just, or the owner is just so stubborn.
Yeah.
And I just think that's just what a ridiculous reason for things to end up pear-shaped.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Indeed. Well, we'll see how things pan out. Still plenty more twists and turns.
Yes, I'm sure there will be between now and then.
A few people suggesting on here, I don't know if we know anything about this, that the rumour mill is suggesting there's some big announcement coming relatively soon.
It's not about my hair, is it?
In terms of colour and badge. There was a good comment about your hair on here.
I'm going to drag my hair back into the limelight.
Don't tell them we're going to yellow next season.
There's going to be a big announcement about what? The badge and the shirt?
Colour, badge, shirt.
Oh, I hope they're announcing and changing it back to blue.
Nah, it wouldn't.
He said he was pretty categorical on that recently.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
But we shall see. Well, let's have a quick switch of emphasis just for a short while before we come back to it. Cardiff Ball saying we have to talk about the Wales performance as well. We'll briefly
The
touch
Gareth
on
Bale
Wales.
performance.
The Gareth Bale
I always said Chris Coleman, right man for that job, didn't I? Didn't I say to you?
Yeah, you did, mate. You did.
I mean, it was a good performance, a comprehensive win against a team who,
almost
got
there.
there.
They were in the playoffs,
They were in the playoffs, lost in the playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah.
To get to the World Cup. Lagerback, obviously the guy you were very keen on getting him as Wales manager.
Rubbish. Utter rubbish.
Absolutely rubbish.
No,
two things on that. One, the performance, and whether it's we can be genuinely positive looking to the Euros, and then I suppose two, the crowd, which was officially 13,000, unofficially seemed less to those who were there. I don't know what the thoughts are on that. Go on those two sort of things. What the rights and wrongs of those two issues?
Well, where should we start?
Let's start with the good.
The performance.
The performance.
The performance, I felt, especially since we were missing, a couple of players as well. I thought it was a really good performance, to be honest with you. I thought it was really positive. I thought if you get Ramsey back in there. I thought, I quite liked the team. A lot of experience, few older heads in there as well, but nice to see like James Collins and
when he's good,
Danny
he's a good player, isn't he?
Yes,
James Collins
but I said you can't afford to Wales can't afford to let anyone retire, basically. Even like Bellas, I think Bellas is like retired. I just think if you can, even for a game or two, if you need them,
Giggsy back at this
yeah,
point,
you just can't afford to let any sort of quality go, because the pool of players we got to choose from is so shallow. But I thought overall performance, I thought was good. I thought it's just been well documented. Anyone seen the game? I thought Bale was unstoppable at times, unplayable. But
he's amazing, isn't he?
he's brilliant. And then the crowd.
Is this the bad bit coming up?
Well, I don't say it's bad. No, I think people have responsibilities. I think the FAW need to do more, because I was saying to friends of mine, there's been games where I live out in Abergavenny, and there's times where you don't see or hear nothing on TV. You might get the odd clip of the game coming up tomorrow or next week, but as for marketing and advertising, it's not on buses, it's not on, bus stops, not in shops. You don't see nothing at all. All the sports shops should be.
Signs up before.
Well, you would in Cardiff.
In Cardiff, on the side
but
of a bus.
I'm talking like if you want to increase from 10,000 to 50,000, then you've got to have a better marketing strategy. You've got the most expensive player in the world at the moment. How you don't utilise that?
Yeah. It's crazy.
The FA might have to say to Gareth Bale, look, we might have to pay you some more money to go and do like a campaign around 3 or 4 schools or something like that.
Surely he's there the day before. You just need to say, Gareth, will you please go and talk to the press?
The day before, you don't want to. What I'm saying is, as a player, it's not that straightforward. You don't want to. You want to be focusing on the game. What I'm saying is, if you meet up like on a Monday or Tuesday or a Saturday after the Saturday game, and you're not playing to the following Saturday, I would say the Monday and Tuesday, you can utilise someone like Gareth. Just go to, say, 2 schools, or, you know, do something like that. Northwest, the FA maybe give away 50 tickets, could put on a couple of coaches for the kids, and maybe you'll get them coming back, you know, again and again and again. But at the moment, I don't think there's enough, there's not enough strategy, there's not enough, you know, long-term thought process going into it. It all seems to be, we just got a game, those who turn up, those who don't. You know. And another thing for Wales is it's more like a club, because they play in Cardiff, so Swansea fans don't want to come. They play in Swansea, so Cardiff fans don't want to go down. They don't play in the north, or when they do, they get an even smaller crowd. The north, there's always been a north-south divide, so they got no ground that they call their home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's lots of things that go against the grain, if you like.
I think what a lot of people, particularly reporters and journalists, would argue at is that when they have these interviews before the game, which effectively are probably the best publicity you're going to get for it, they put up like some obscure figure. I mean, I think they had Emir Hughes up, fair enough, but they don't seem to put up a Bale, or they don't seem to put up a Ramsey. I know he was injured, but they don't seem to put these players up. Whereas these are the guys who are going to get you the headlines. These are the guys who are going to get you the good spots on the 6 o'clock news.
I think that all becomes part of a strategy.
It's foolish.
You know, I think you have to sit down with players like Gareth, like Aaron, like Ashley Williams, you know, like James Collins, like Danny Gabardon, experienced, older heads, and your top quality players. I think you have to sit down with them as the FAW and say, right, we both want more fans in. So in order to do that, we've come up with this strategy. Yeah, you two are going to go north and south. You two are going to go east and west. You're going to all visit a school. I just keep saying school. It might be it might be a sports shop for the day. It might be for an hour, whatever. But there needs to be a better marketing strategy, I think, to get the fans out. And don't forget, you know, it's cost as well. Some fans like be thinking, you know, tenner an adult, 5 a kid. Okay, doesn't sound a lot, but you and your missus and 2 kids go as 40 quid. Coming from the Ronda, there's another 15, 20 quid in petrol.
I don't even know if you need to send
you want a bit of food, there's another 20, 30 quid. So at the end of the day, it becomes, you know, what sounds like a ticket to watch Gareth Bale all of a sudden becomes like a 70, 80 quid.
I don't know what
tight at the moment.
I don't know what they don't do a video, let alone send him to schools. They don't even do a video of Gareth Bale saying, "Hi, my name's Gareth Bale. Come and watch me play tomorrow."
Like an advert.
It's going, and stick it on the. You don't need him, you know, stick it on the internet.
Well, the FAW, the BBC Wales,
Amateur.
and ourselves, there should be a good, again, marketing strategy for the sake of the international team. But it seems like the BBC and ourselves, BBC Wales and the South Wales Echo, are doing what they can over here. But there seems to be little connection through, you know, all three. And you know, we're a small country. You need to, you know, utilize every avenue. I don't think we do.
I'll put it this way: if the campaign gets off to a good start,
well, it's the success breeds it. Just finally on it, then, if it comes to the last game of the qualification campaign and Wales will qualify if they win, I think it's actually against Andorra, but I forget who it's against. Do you think they would, you know, how many fans do you think they would get in that situation? I think
once you get on the sixth,
where would they play? They play it at Cardiff, would they? Or they play in the Millennium Stadium? Because they say they're going to play all the home qualifiers in the Cardiff City Stadium. Did they say and the Millennium Stadium was mentioned?
No, I think it was
just Cardiff.
Yeah, so if it's full, it's full. You know,
which is all right. I
can't start thinking to yourself,
that would be a sellout.
Let's go to the Millennium because we get more money. You got to think what's best for
I'm
the
fine
players.
With that. I thought somebody said the Millennium
and qualifying. So I would pick a ground and stick with it. Yeah.
You think of Mark Hughes days, the Euro 2004 over there. That was incredible. Wales were one of the best supported teams in Europe at that point. They were selling out. Yeah,
74,000.
Despite him playing, they were still selling out. It was incredible. No, but those were the days, weren't they?
Yeah.
Those were the
days.
days.
The support is there. It's just, you know, if you know the support is there, it's how do you get it back? You can't simply say the fans didn't turn up, can you?
99% of it is success on the pitch, though. You could have the best marketing campaign in the world.
I wouldn't even say that much, because I don't think the Welsh fans are at the point where they think, oh, we should be qualifying for every tournament. I think they're just saying we want to qualify for a tournament. And I think if they feel, because that's what happened in the Marquees, we'd been under Bobby Gould for so many years, and it became like, well, people just can't see a strategy, a way forward. They can't see how we're going to qualify. Soon as things changed, Mark Hughes, you know, from a media perspective, the media were listening to the players. All of a sudden, everything sounds more professional. The training sounds better. This sounds better. So it created its own little mini momentum, which then spilled out to the fans. Then you win the first couple of games in the championships. All of a sudden, you got 50,000 through the gate, then 60, then 70. The word I always use in football, momentum. It just grew and grew and grew, and we just
nothing more so than in those qualification campaigns. On the pitch and off it, everything is geared towards starting that campaign well. Essential, absolutely essential.
I think our first 3 games, all winnable, comfortably. I think if you get
Bosnia,
off,
right?
I think Bosnia, Cyprus, and Andorra. I think if you come out of them 9 points, I wouldn't be surprised if you've got like a full stadium by that time.
Well, Bosnia's the key one.
Crikey,
top seeds,
definitely. That would be an amazing start.
Even 7 points at the end there, after 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's exactly as you said then, Blakey. The frustrating thing is we know the appetite is there.
Oh yeah, it's
because
massive.
they've had it.
Yeah.
Under Hughes, you know, you had 70,000.
Once you know that's there,
game in, game out.
Yeah, you have to.
It's just getting people out.
Well, put it this way: if you can get 70,000 when you're doing well, when you're doing poorly, you should be still averaging around about 20,000, shouldn't you? For an international game, especially with 2 of the Premier League or one of the world's best players, or probably 2 of the world's top 20 players in your international team. You shouldn't be thinking to yourself, oh, I wonder if we get 10,000. You should say, right, we know we're going to average, worst case scenario, 20, 25,000. No problem. We've got 2 of the world's top players.
You know what the Welsh public, I don't say I say I include myself in this. Very fickle in a way, though. You know what I mean? It's either.
Well, that's just bred out of like not being successful for so many years, and some some of the managers, we've had, I mean no disrespect, but you look at some of the, I played under Goldie for 5, 6, 7 seasons on an international level. And some of the things that would happen, some of the pitches we would train on, some of the situations we found ourselves in, training at like us open prison, prisoners coming out of prison to train with us. It's embarrassing. It's
give us your best ball.
It's too many.
The way you played at times, they should have taken you in there.
I can remember one time, I won't name the school in Newport, but I remember training at the school in Newport, and it's well documented that this area floods, and the training pitch, I'm not kidding you, was probably, that deep in mud. And I mean, when you run and try and stop and you do the old slide, and like Giggsy like trying to push off and fall in, and Speedy and myself, and players can't stand up, Art's falling over, and we're surrounded round the pitch by kids. We're all laughing. Laughing at, like some of the world's best players.
I tell you what, I can't believe you guys didn't qualify for a major tournament. You're ashamed of yourself.
You get out, okay. You expect to train on a decent pitch and whatever, because you're trying to get some sort of pattern and shape in the game. But
what I want to see is, I want to see the face of the Real Madrid manager watching a video of Gareth Bale training on a mud-soaked pitch in Newport. That'd be interesting.
You just think to yourself, no wonder. What do you expect? Do you know what I mean? Because as players, I remember what the feeling was going in the build-up to the game. You didn't get to the game thinking only about the game. You'd been nagged about the training, you'd been nagged about the facilities, you'd been nagged about, where we're training. The pitch was this, and you all, I'll never forget it, people always be on the back of the bus going, can you imagine England doing this? Can you imagine England doing this? We don't expect 5-star. We're like, I suppose, the Irish and the Scots.
Yeah.
You know, we expect not mediocre. We expect the best that we can get for what we are.
What we are, yeah.
And we just didn't feel that was ever
Should have
the
done a
case.
Roy Keane, walked out.
We should have jumped. You know, back to Wales on the pitch. You got a good feeling about it. I got a little bit of a good feeling about. You know, that little. You know,
I don't know. I can never judge.
I always get a good feeling.
I got a good
I find it difficult to judge. I
don't know. I just got a feeling they might galvanise. They might, because you got Bale and Ramsey.
The problem is it's
both good players. Both. The thing I like about Bale so much, he's such a great player. He can handle all the pressure. He's really into Wales. You know, the thing that was always levelled at Giggsy. I'm not saying Giggsy wasn't, but there was a little bit.
That question come up on the weekend.
What was that?
Has Bale already done more for Wales than Ryan Giggs ever did?
Well, he scored as many goals, hasn't he?
Because he played in a friendly.
I'm sure he scored as many goals as Giggs did for Wales already.
He's not far off being the
greatest player in Welsh.
No, his goals record is really good. You know, he's not that far off being like Wales' all-time greatest scorer. You know?
It just goes to show how bad he hasn't beaten Blakey's record, has he?
I got about 3. I mean,
did you?
Play more time in midfield than I did up front.
No,
but I got a good. Anyway, I got a good vibe. I got a good vibe about it going forward.
Yeah.
Why
Have
not?
a positive.
Let's have a bit of optimism about it.
Yeah. And I know one thing that I know fans do get their back up a bit about is, the manager. You know, that is still, I think, an issue among some fans.
Yeah, it seems to dissipate somewhat.
I'm not the biggest fan of Chris Coleman. I've said that on here in various places. I tell you what, if he can get them to turn up, he's done half the job already. For me, with that in that job, you know, what's he going to do on? Okay, you got to get a team together, and all, but you know, Bale's being coached by like the greatest coaches in the world, probably, as we speak. You know, so you know, as long as he doesn't like detrain him or like bring him down a few levels, fine. Yeah. Anyway, I booked my tickets for Amsterdam.
Do you mean
today,
train when he's at Wales by Cookie and Osher?
Yeah, they'll be all right. I got a good feeling, man. And particularly, as I said, I'm off to Amsterdam in June. So
good for you, mate.
Indeed. Okay, yeah, some positive comments. People sounding pretty positive. They look at the team, potential midfielder, Bale, Ramsey, Ledley, Johnny Williams, Joe Allen, who had a decent game.
Yeah, good midfield.
Good midfield. Striker Sam Vokes.
I was going to say that. Vokesy could be the key. Absolutely vital. He could be massively important. If Burnley can get up and he and Vokes can have a season in the Prem, even if they're not, and he bangs a few goals in. For Wales, that could be absolutely priceless. Yeah. That could be the missing element just there.
Oh, I love it when you get all dramatic.
Don't he?
It's fantastic.
I'm excited. I'm going to get.
There we go. We'll move on from that. As Pete says, you lot keep moaning about losing for weeks, and when we win, all you do is talk about Wales. Jesus.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. I do
That's
apologise.
A good point, actually.
I do apologise. But we do need to cover all bases.
We've had a little 10-minute.
Give Wales, our own country, a little
It's
something.
been dominated by Tan getting booed and Wales.
Well, let's talk about this final 10 minutes. Let's look ahead then. Everton. We're coming up to those couple of games now that we said they're going to have to pull something off you don't expect them to.
Is this the shock win coming up?
Could this be the shock win? Everton obviously thumped by Arsenal in the FA Cup on the weekend. Although I think that was a bit flattering. The scoreline.
Very flattering.
Yeah, we know they're a good
Everton
team.
Quality.
Away to Everton, 3 o'clock this Saturday. Feeling
optimistic.
Good? Some thought. Let's have a look at the overall fixtures. Right. So we got Cardiff at Everton, Norwich are at Southampton. Sunderland Palace, big one for both sides there, just above Cardiff. West Brom at Swansea, cheering on the Swans this weekend, is it?
Well, that's the part I was saying that, and then Gaz Rogers was saying something about. Oh, we can't say that. That makes him look bad, though. You're saying something about what? I would say, wow, we're going to be supporting Swansea, and then Gaz was, well, no. If they lose, they might get dragged back into it. Sorry, any Swansea fan.
I suppose that's a point. If Swansea were to lose and Cardiff win, Cardiff would only be a point behind Swansea again, albeit having played a game more. But well, they're level on points with West Brom, who are at Swansea. We've got a game in hand, so Cardiff could feasibly, even with a point this weekend, be out of the bottom 3.
I tell you what, that'd be a very good point, though, wouldn't it?
Well, what it needs to be, that's just it. They can't be level on points with any of those teams above them. The top.
The goal difference
is Swansea. You can't be level on points
Is that
at
goal
the end of the
difference
season.
irretrievable at the moment? Minus 28.
Well, I think
Cardiff.
the worst is
Norwich are minus 22. Yeah,
I think it's only Norwich who's.
you could pull that. Yeah, Palace minus 19.
We're not scoring
Not
goals
scoring
for
enough
fun.
to.
No.
Yeah. Now, if we
Trouble
go
that.
and lose 4-3 to Liverpool and draw 2-2 with Everton, okay, all of a sudden, goals for starts coming down. But at the moment, I'm just thinking we just need to be.
What's your thoughts on that Sunderland Palace game? What's the result Cardiff want there? It's a funny one, isn't it? Sunderland 1 point behind, but with 3 games in hand, and Palace just 2 points ahead with the 1 game in hand.
I think either or. I would. It's always a draw. That's what you want. It's always a draw. But if you want anyone to win, I suppose you would say. I would say probably Palace. I wouldn't want West Brom to win no matter what, and I wouldn't want Sunderland, the team behind me, to win no matter what. You look behind you at the team, look above you at the team. You want those 2 teams to lose. Make it okay. If someone has to run away, let Palace go or let Norwich go. But you want to have a team who you're battling with to get out of the bottom 3.
I would disagree with Gaz Rogers and say definitely a West Brom defeat. I would have to go with there, and the other one a draw. Maybe Palace. What was it? Palace. Sunderland.
Yeah.
What about formations then? Quite a few people are saying would like to see them revert back to that formation they played at Spurs. The 5-3. Did you think that's what he will do?
I think he will. I was thinking about this earlier. I think he will up there. Don't you reckon
do
he
you think
might?
that will be his away formation?
Yeah, that crossed my mind. I thought I'd be
5 at the back.
Yeah, again.
5 at the
I
back.
thought. Tottenham
Gunnison
weren't
back
at their
in
best,
midfield.
but it did manage to thwart them.
I don't think you need. What you mean, like a back 4, 1 in front, or are you talking like a back 3 with 2?
Well, like they played the other day.
Wing backs.
Carlo was
3
sort
with
of a
2 wing
sweeper,
backs,
was he? And they had the
Fabio
wing
and-
backs.
Yeah, I just
Medel,
think,
Gunnison.
I don't know.
Much in
5 at the back doesn't really fill me with any optimism of staying up, because you got to score goals at the end of the day.
Well, you don't 0-0 draw. Be fine up at another one up at Everton.
Yeah,
I'd take that now.
Yeah, I know, but for every game you don't get, regardless whether you're playing Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham, whatever, for every game that you don't get anything out of, it just puts more pressure on the likes of the Palace game, the Sunderland game. That it just you're running the pressure mounts, and you're running out of games and time. Do you know what I mean? So I think we're not. Listen, most people have got us as down near enough. I still say we need to. You've got to have some sort of emphasis on attack. I think back 5 probably gives out the wrong impression, not just to your opposition, but to your own team as well. I think we can get away with a back 4 with 1 sitting in front, even 2 sitting in front with Medal and much break in more often than not to help, the 4 or 5 in attack.
What about the Fraser Campbell situation and the Kenwyn Jones situation? Would you like to see Fraser again out wide, or and give Kenwyn another go, or?
It's one of them.
Kenwyn's troubling you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because I don't know whether it's match fitness or just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I expected a lot more then. That's what I'm saying. But I know as well at the same time I've seen and I've been there where you're not fit enough, or you're not match fit, you may carry an injury. There might be, I don't know, you just don't like the club, you're not in a position where you're happy, something might be going on off the field, I don't know. So, but what I'm adamant of, I'd like to see more from Kenwyn.
I think you stick Campbell up front and bring Bellamy in.
I don't think.
Why not?
I don't know. I think we need some. We need. We're not getting as much from Kenwyn, but we do need that power up front. We do need someone who's,
Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Quite a few people saying they'd like to see a 4-2-3-1, which maybe not too similar to what you were talking about.
Yeah, that's probably the formation I would always go with, to be honest with you. I think that suits us best, I think. Because I think that can become, it's a 4-2-3-1, but I also think it can become
the nicest
a
balance between
4-1-4-1 as well. I think I would play Medal. I'd always play Jordan as the attacking midfielder. But, if I played Medal and Gunnarsson, I know Gunnarsson likes a goal. Medal, I don't think he's having a shot this season. But I'd say to Gunnar, right, you go and join the other three in front of you as often as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt just saying he'd like to see Zaha brought in out wide. Obviously,
I don't understand what's going on there. Maybe you can fill us in on the Zaha situation.
The Zaha situation, well, obviously, no, he doesn't fancy him at this point in time, does he? I don't think he's nothing injured or.
See, players like
you bring
Zaha,
somebody like him in on loan.
You expect
you think he's going to play him, yeah.
Well, you expect the player to go up a notch or two because he's got something to prove. You can't live on past in football because there's always someone else ready to come in and take your shirt, take your place. So he's had the move to United. It's not worked out for whatever reason. You come on loan to Cardiff, still in the Premier League, so you can show your talents. 3 or 4 games in after you get your match fitness, we should be seeing
Zaha's frustrated more than he's impressed anybody so far here. He looks raw, as we said, and
I would say kids need to be careful when they're that age because the fall from grace can be very quick. Everyone's saying potentially you're going to play for England. Potentially you can be one of the Premier League's best. Potentially, there's plenty of players that don't feel their potential. No, you don't. It doesn't guarantee you a place on Saturday.
Yeah. Okay.
As we're now finding out.
Indeed. All right, we're nearly at the prediction time. I see a lot of people thinking 4-2-3-1. Carl saying 2-5-3 with Corker up front, the goal scorer. not a bad shout. Draw. A few people saying draws. Sunderland Palace 0-0. 1-0 to Cardiff, says Carl. I've just got a feeling, he says.
What, Goodison?
Yeah, it must be, yeah.
Yeah,
that's where they're playing.
Yeah, 1-0 to Cardiff at Goodison, yeah.
It's a difficult, what they've done well this season, Everton, they've bounced back most games when they've lost a game. I don't think they've lost 3 in a row, maybe once, I think. But, they've lost 1, they usually win straight after. That's where they've been different this season. They've not gone on a poor run of 5, 6, 7, 8 games. They've managed to stave that off.
Now's the time.
All right, 2 questions, Finis. One, are Cardiff more likely to get something out of this game or the next one, which is at home but against Liverpool? And what will be the result this weekend? Your prediction?
At Goodison. Oh man, let's see. Lukaku on fire up front, midfield. We'll do well at Goodison. I'm going to go for a 2-2.
2-2 draw.
2-2 draw?
Could just out of a hat, isn't it? Completely useless.
If I had to guess what I was going to say, I would have got anywhere near a 2-2 draw. I was still like, nah, never going to say that. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw because I'm boring. Fancy keep it tight at the back. Keep them both. And to answer the other part of the question, I think they got much better chance of getting something at Goodison. I think Liverpool will be too strong down here, and Liverpool got the bit between their teeth.
Yeah, they're going for the league.
They got big ideas.
When you talk about like a mentality of players, Liverpool beat Arsenal. The day they beat Arsenal 4-0, that was it. Players will say publicly, we don't talk about, we just think about the next game, don't talk about the title. But in the back of your mind, Liverpool's a giant club, 70s and 80s, best club in Britain, Europe. Sooner or later, the good times after return. Everything's like on a cycle, innit? Those players, after they ripped Arsenal, who were then top of the league, then you tell yourself, we can win this. Why not? Someone got to win it, so why not us? Liverpool, I feel, are very dangerous at the moment. Dangerous.
If the good times are on a cycle, when are Cardiff City's good times? They must be on one hell of a cycle of like.
Mercury goes round the moon, around the sun quick, and Pluto takes plenty.
So you're saying Cardiff are the footballing equivalent of Pluto?
I think we're not.
Disney one or the planet.
We're more like a Saturn or a Jupiter.
We're more like that Halley's Comet that goes out for comes back.
Is that Halley's Comet or Halley's Comet?
I think. Well, that's astronomers call it Halley's. Call it what you want, man. call him that. I can't believe you've moved on to astronomy
Okay,
now.
Dr. Cox.
Indeed. All right, chaps. I think we'll wrap up there, shall we?
Great, I think.
Yeah.
I gotta go in. I gotta go.
What's
and do
your
my hair anyway.
What's your prediction for the
You got
for the game? You never predict.
I think they'll lose 1-0 against Everton, but I think they'll draw 1-1 against Liverpool.
I thought you were going to say draw 2-2 at Everton then.
Okay. His face, like, oh,
He doesn't like you when you turn it on.
put him
him,
on the
He likes
spot.
to be one of the.
You just make something up, like.
Hey, it's a lot of educating. 5 at the back.
Well,
Keep it
educated
tight.
guessing here.
Lukaku has an off day.
Yeah.
It's all going on up here.
Indeed.
It doesn't
Indeed.
translate
What is
out.
that volume, mate?
Studio line.
Well, mate.
You've got to be paranoid. I'm going to have to go and have a look. I haven't really checked it out.
Well, I don't know what to quite say about it. It's like
Oh,
I
God.
can't work out whether it's ridiculous or quite trendy.
I think it's more like of an 80s Don Johnson, Miami Vice like thing. It's
Hey, we could do like Miami Vice, which is I could be the Don Johnson. You could be
Crockett and
Roland
Tubbs.
Sleeve. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we'll do next week. Anybody got any fancy dress parties?
I'll wear a nice orange t-shirt with a nice green
Which one's
jacket.
Crockett and which one's Tubbs? I can't remember which was which. Which was Don Johnson? I can't remember. Oh, he was.
It's just one of those 80s things again.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, God.
Forget he's only 12.
I can't stand young people. They do my head in. They don't know anything about it. They don't know anything. They don't. I
The
bet you don't even.
80s are the best times, man.
I bet you don't even know who Alf was, right?
I
Do
beg
you?
your pardon.
Oh, exactly. You don't know. Knight Rider?
Knight Rider, I mean, yeah.
Oh, do you?
Knight Rider, I
Well,
can
how
get on
come you
board.
know Knight Rider? You don't know Miami Vice? Oh, is there a new Knight Rider, is there?
No.
You haven't got a clue on that,
This
right?
show started dodgily, and it's it was dodgy in the middle, and now it's ending
Now we're
dodgy.
on the Miami Vice.
Miami Vice.
Yeah.
What's the catchphrase of Miami Vice? Hey, that's Happy Day.
Right. That is
Finished
time to
now.
call it a day. That's it. Who knows if we'll be back next week?
If we're back
after
next
that.
week,
Yeah,
I hope it's another win to talk about.
Hey, mozzarella, you know.
Sits. Hey, Blakey, sit on it, man.
Mozzarella. Go
Right,
on.
good stuff. As always, thank you, chaps. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for all your comments, all your questions. Sorry about the content of parts of that. Slightly peculiar, but there we go. We'll be blogging live, as always, from the game on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff, so join us for that. And, of course, we'll be back next Monday for more Blakey's Boot Room. See you then.